On February the 19th of 2019, David Chislton was standing before a judge in Cuyahoga County, Ohio, to be sentenced after he'd pleaded guilty to a number of charges. 2 years prior, Chislton had been responsible for a police standoff lasting several hours after an incident in which he'd struck his girlfriend with a pistol and set his apartment complex on fire. By 2019, he'd admitted, among others, domestic abuse, aggravated arson, and felonious assault. During the hearing, he found out that he was being sentenced to 47 years in prison. Chislton then punched his defense lawyer, Aaron Brockler, who was standing next to him. The attack was captured by the body cams of deputies present in the courthouse and witnessed by a room full of legal representatives. Medical records indicated that Brockler had suffered 2 hairline fractures of his nose and a sprained MCL. In spite of insurmountable evidence, the ensuing felonious assault charge against Chislton was dismissed in October of that same year. His new lawyer, Jim Jenkins, successfully argued that the injuries hadn't inflicted the level of physical harm necessary to meet the charge. Jenkins told the court, "David Chislton doesn't pack much of a punch," before turning to his client and saying, "I love you, but you don't pack much of a punch." Chislton took the stand and alleged that Brockler had banked on his friendship with the judge's husband to ensure that he'd be getting a sentence close to the minimum of 9 years. He admitted to punching him out of rage upon finding out he was getting 47. Chislton applauded the jury, who found him not guilty, before heading back to jail. In 2021, Brockler filed a lawsuit against him, as well as the 2 deputies who'd handcuffed him for restraining his hands at the front instead of behind his back, as it was the department's policy. Number 6. Nando Perez. A custodian working at the Queen's office of New York City lawyer Charles Zolot found him dead on the floor on the morning of August the 5th of 2022. Zolot had been stabbed multiple times and had suffered trauma to his back. The 65-year-old handled bankruptcy, real estate, and all areas of family law. Another lawyer working in the same building told CBS New York that his legal assistants had reported overhearing a heated argument at around closing time on August the 4th. Zolot's lifeless body was found by cleaning staff the following day. An investigation was launched by law enforcement, and his killer was identified as 54-year-old Bronx man Nando Perez. He was confirmed by the NYPD to have been a disgruntled client of Zolot's. The authorities provided no further details, but there was suspicion that Perez was angry over how the lawyer had handled the foreclosure of his home. 5 days after Zolot's body was found, Perez was arraigned on charges of second-degree murder and criminal possession of a weapon in the 4th degree. The man's brother was believed to have been in the room as well, but the extent of his involvement in the killing, if any, remained unspecified. Number 5. Lamont Payne. Lamont Payne, a man with a long history of assault and disruptive behavior, was in court in 2018 for attacking a corrections officer at the 4th Avenue Jail in Maricopa County, Arizona. The incident, which had occurred in 2016, involved him blocking out the windows of his cell and placing soapy water on the floor to make it difficult for guards to remove him. He then got on the ground as they entered and bit into a guard's ankle, causing a laceration. While in court for the attack, Payne was assigned public defender Vladimir Gagic. During the first day of jury selection, Payne attempted to fire him and repeatedly disrupted the proceedings. He was seen trying to get his lawyer's attention by banging on his desk, but Gagic seemingly ignored him. Payne disregarded the judge's warnings and was eventually ordered to be removed from court. In a video-recorded incident, he got up and started collecting some papers, then forcefully sucker-punched Gagic in the face and cursed at him. Payne was restrained by a deputy as Gagic rose to his feet, shaken up by the strike. He was left with a bloody nose and mouth, subsequently telling the media, "I could literally taste his knuckles." He filed assault charges against Payne. While stunned by the attack, Gagic later reported that he was more upset with the manner in which the Public Defense Services had treated him in the aftermath. They suspended his contract and asked him to repay the $1,000 he'd been given to defend Payne, citing multiple complaints about his lack of communication with clients, another attorney, and PDS. Number 4. Peter Hafer. In June of 2007, Peter Hafer and an accomplice burglarized a Kmart in Kentucky, making off with over $50,000 in jewelry. He was arrested in August and in February of the following year appeared in Scott County Circuit Court. 30-year-old Hafer's court-appointed lawyer was a man by the name of Doug Crickmer. During the hearing, Hafer told the court that he was dissatisfied with Crickmer's services and asked for a new lawyer, but was denied, with a judge telling him that he couldn't choose his public defender. Looking back on what followed, Hafer would claim, "I just couldn't take it anymore and I just snapped." As Crickmer began explaining his side of the argument, Hafer threw a haymaker to his chin that dropped him to the floor. The inmate was able to land a few more blows to Crickmer's head and stomach as deputies struggled to contain him. The lawyer was taken to a local hospital, but released later that same day. In a subsequent interview for a media outlet, Crickmer bore the marks of his client's attack, which included 2 black eyes. He, however, stated that he understood Hafer's frustration and didn't blame him, adding that he wasn't planning to pursue assault charges. The incident ultimately worked in Hafer's favor as he was appointed a new lawyer. Number 3. Lamarcus Williamson. After pleading guilty to robbery, drug and assault charges, Lamarcus Williamson was about to be sentenced in early October of 2012 at court in York County, South Carolina. He had a lengthy prison record dating back to 2000 and had been arrested most recently in March for choking a female Winthrop University student. At the time, the police also found 9 grams of crack cocaine on him. Attorney Dan Hall was sitting next to Williamson as his punishment was read out. It was the legal representative's 58th birthday, and only the second time he'd worked with Williamson, as he was reportedly standing in for a colleague. 30-year-old Williamson reacted in disbelief when his sentence of 15 years was read out. 2 deputies moved closer to him as the inmate became increasingly agitated. Surveillance video from the crowded courtroom showed Hall touching Williamson's shoulder and pointing to the door, seemingly suggesting they leave. Within moments, Williamson violently lashed out, and even though he was in handcuffs, punched the lawyer in the face. He tried to land further blows after Hall had collapsed, but deputies promptly intervened and hauled him out of the courtroom. He later offered a bizarre explanation for the punch, describing it as an angry reaction to his solicitor trying to incriminate him, like he was some bad guy. 6 months were added to his sentence, the harshest possible punishment for contempt of court. Hall was left with a bleeding lip and a sore jaw, but subsequently claimed that it could have been worse. He noted that if the blow had landed an inch higher, his nose would have been broken, and an inch lower, he would have lost his front teeth. Hall also joked that it wasn't the best birthday present he'd ever received. Number 2. Christchurch District Court Incident. In late November of 2019, New Zealand lawyer Tony Gregg was representing a high-security prisoner who was not named at the Christchurch District Court. The offender had been charged with assaulting a prison officer. As the hearing progressed, the judge asked him to go back to the docks for sentencing. The man got up and suddenly delivered a powerful blow to Gregg's head that blindsided him and sent him flying from his chair and onto the floor. The offender was restrained by 3 corrections officers and subsequently returned to prison. It wasn't made immediately clear if he faced new charges or if time was added to his sentence. Gregg was taken to a nurse at the Justice Precinct, who stitched up a cut on his brow. Gregg described the attack as sudden but unavoidable, noting that if a client was dissatisfied with their attorney and wanted to hurt them, they had plenty of opportunities to do so. Gregg returned to work unshaken by the attack and in spite of the fact that it had left him with stitches and bruising to his face. Number 1. Joshua Monson. In May of 2011, Washington man Joshua Monson was in Snohomish County Court for second-degree murder and felony drug possession. During a hearing for the latter charge, 27-year-old Monson grabbed a pencil and stabbed his lawyer, Thomas Cox, in the neck. Cox wasn't seriously hurt and opted to stay on as Monson's attorney, but was replaced by Gurjit Pandya. A few days after the hearing, Monson appeared in court again via video conference from jail. During the proceedings, he stabbed Paneer with a small jailhouse pencil. Again, the lawyer avoided major injury and was replaced. Monson's mental health came into question, but he was found competent to stand trial. In late October, Monson was in court once more with his new legal representative, Jesse Cantor. He didn't have any access to sharp objects and was fitted with a stun cuff on his leg that could be activated by corrections officers and shock him in case of another outburst. The prosecution had argued that Monson should have had his legs restrained with leather shackles. Cantor, however, opposed them, arguing that they'd influenced the way in which the jurors regarded Monson and jeopardized his right to a fair trial. The judge agreed. Then, during the hearing, Monson moved to grab Cantor's pen. A corrections officer activated the stun cuff, but it failed to stop him. Monson stabbed his lawyer in the side of the head with the pen before he was subdued by officers. Much like those before him, Cantor emerged without significant injuries. The judge ruled that through his repeated attacks, for which he was charged with 2 counts of 4th-degree assault, Monson had forfeited his right to legal counsel and would thus represent himself. He was also ordered to be restrained for the remainder of the trial. During a subsequent hearing, Monson urged the jury to keep an open mind, claimed that he was framed and that the police had misidentified the substance in his possession as methamphetamine when it was actually rock salt. After the jury left the courtroom to deliberate, a restrained Monson smiled at the prosecution and said, "Congratulations." He was found guilty of drug possession and a few months later found guilty of murder. The second charge stemmed from an incident on January the 2nd of 2011. It was then that Monson was accused of shooting 30-year-old Brian Jones in the back of the head while he was talking on the cell phone at his Everett apartment. Monson was sentenced to 45 years in prison. Thanks for watching. Would you rather represent yourself in court for a non-violent crime or let your prankster friend tattoo whatever they wanted, wherever they wanted, on your body?